The tension in Dallas just hit a whole new level. Jerry Jones has added fuel to Micah Parsons' fire, giving him and his new squad every reason to storm back into AT&T Stadium and wreak havoc on a battered Cowboys offensive line. This week's news doesn't just sting for Dallas, it signals rough waters ahead for the entire franchise. Buckle up, Cowboys Nation. Only the toughest will endure what's coming. Here's the bombshell. Jerry Jones made it crystal clear there will be no tribute video for Micah Parsons when he returns. No warm welcome. No highlight reel. Nothing. His words were blunt, it's not appropriate. And to be fair, how many players get a farewell montage after only 4 seasons? Unless a player was the definition of loyalty and left under extraordinary circumstances, that kind of send-off just doesn't happen. This decision sends a loud message not only to Parsons but to Cowboys fans everywhere. Dallas is drawing a hard line, and emotions are about to boil over when No. 11 steps back onto that field in enemy colors. Let's be real, why even raise the question? This is the same player who publicly asked for a trade and made it clear he no longer wanted to wear the star on his helmet. He criticized the organization for how it handles contracts, insisting players should get paid early. On paper, that sounds noble. In reality, it hasn't worked. We've seen what happens when big extensions go out before players have proven they can stay on the field, injuries pile up, production dips, and the team suffers. Micah Parsons was one of the loudest voices behind that movement in Dallas, openly challenging the front office's approach. Now he's suiting up for Green Bay. And yet, some people want to know why there's no tribute video? Come on. He chose to leave. He questioned the organization repeatedly. He hasn't earned that kind of send-off. Ezekiel Elliott is the perfect contrast. Zeke got his tribute because he earned it. Multiple rushing titles. Years as the face of the franchise. He defined an era of Cowboys football and carried himself, on the field and off, as someone proud to represent Dallas. That's why he got the highlight reel. Parsons simply hasn't reached that level of loyalty or impact with the team. Ezekiel Elliott set another standard too. He never meddled in front office business, and when his time in Dallas ended, he didn't demand a trade. He accepted the release with professionalism. That's a world apart from asking out and still expecting a tribute. And this talk about tribute videos from fans or content creators? Stop it. Parsons hasn't even led the league in sacks once. The only category he's topped is pressures, a stat that's wide open to interpretation and can still result in positive plays for the opponent. That's not the kind of legacy that earns a hero's send-off. On this one, Jerry Jones is right. Yes, the front office is catching heat right now. Yes, the defense has looked shaky at times. But if you actually study the film, the situation isn't nearly as dire as it seems. Dallas still has one of the most promising young offensive lines in the league, even while injured. They've got 2 dynamic receivers, a resurgent running game, and one of the NFL's top quarterbacks. This team isn't dead. It's wounded, but it's far from finished. Dallas still has weapons. A solid tight end. An interior defensive line finally capable of plugging gaps and stopping the run. The biggest weakness right now? Playmakers in the secondary. That's the missing piece. If this defense can rise to even an average level, this roster is built to make the playoffs, at minimum as a wild card. The situation isn't nearly as hopeless as the headlines suggest. A lot of what looks like a broken scheme on film is really busted coverages, miscommunication, and defenders out of position. The blueprint still works, it just needs discipline and execution. That's why, even with the frustration toward the front office, Jerry Jones is right to draw the line on Micah Parsons. You don't demand a trade, call out the organization on the way out, and then expect a hero's welcome back. Tribute videos are for players who stayed loyal and left with respect, not for those who walked away and burned bridges. If Parsons builds that kind of legacy somewhere else, maybe he'll earn it there, but not in Dallas. So no, Micah Parsons doesn't get a tribute. The only tribute Dallas might need soon is for whatever's left of its offensive line after facing Parsons and the Packers this Sunday. Because let's be honest, Micah and that Green Bay front are coming in hungry. I'm not here to sell delusion. What we saw against Chicago and the current state of this offensive line are serious concerns. Tyler Baiadas, or your actual center's name here, is headed to injured reserve with a high ankle sprain that should never have happened late in that game. That makes 2 starting interior linemen now out. In their place, Brock Hoffman and TJ Bass. In another timeline, this might have been Dallas' original plan. Hoffman was once considered the heir apparent at center after the previous starter departed for Washington, and Bass had been learning under Zach Martin with hopes of eventually starting. But right now, both are being thrown into the fire far earlier than expected, and that's a brutal scenario to face against a ferocious Green Bay defensive front led by Parsons. It's not a total disaster up front, but Dallas won't have its best protectors on the field, and they're facing a Green Bay team loaded with motivation. None more so than Micah Parsons. No matter how Cowboys fans feel about him, Parsons is going to be locked in. He'll see the decision not to give him a tribute as another slight, another disrespect. He's taken far less as personal attacks before, even Jerry Jones' comments about injuries, so you know he's going to come into this game with a point to prove. Green Bay will do everything it can to unleash him and make sure his presence is felt. Can Dallas slow him down? Technically, yes. But it'll take a disciplined plan, chip blocks, double teams, and constant disruption to his rhythm, just like we saw the Browns do. That's the formula. Without it, Parsons could single-handedly wreck the Cowboys' offensive game plan. If it were up to me, I'd run the ball straight at Micah Parsons. With the way the ground game has looked lately, there's no reason to shy away from him, make him tackle, make him work. But the problems don't end there. CeeDee Lamb is reportedly out for this matchup, adding to the injury toll. The return of Darren Bland offers a bit of good news, but overall, Dallas is limping into this game. 2 starting offensive linemen are already gone. The replacement's still learning on the job. Tyler Guyton has shown flashes, but his mistakes have been costly, and Terrence Steele has been inconsistent. At this point, Tyler Smith is the lone truly reliable piece up front. This is going to be an uphill battle. And like I said from the start, only the real ones will stick through it. This is where you find out who's truly a Cowboys fan and who's just here for clicks, clout, or an easy story. It's only week 3. There's no need for panic yet, but this team is about to be tested, and so are its fans. Nobody's stealing my joy for football, not now, not after months of waiting. It's week 3. I'll still cheer. I'll still believe. I'll still hope. I'm not so fragile that I need strangers to validate how I feel. I don't need fans from other cities to nod their heads for me to know I'm real. All I want is for Cowboys fans to keep having fun while they choose to wear the star. Yes, we'll probably get tested. Yes, the injuries and the headlines make this a rough stretch. And sure, the back and forth between Jerry Jones and the media has lit a fire under everyone. Reporters stoke narratives just like anyone else. That's part of the circus. But none of that changes the simple truth: I'm still a Cowboys fan. Let's be honest about last year. We lost to the Saints 44-19 even with Micah Parsons in the lineup. That shows this team's problems run deeper than any one player. The shapes have changed. Sometimes we get run over, sometimes we get exposed through the air, but the outcome can look the same. That doesn't mean the end of the road. It means we have work to do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, still repping the star, still backing the team. How about them Cowboys?